What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. But before we get into the charts, I want to go over something that I think is very important to understand, because this is something that comes, it goes, it comes back, it goes back, and I want you guys to understand, like I do, that this is nothing to fear in the markets. Okay, what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a little known thing known as tariffs, right? Watcher Guru says, Justin, President Trump announces 30% tariffs on European Union and Mexico. Lady of Crypto expressing the mentality of the herd, which we don't want to be. Quick, crypto is pumping. We need to send it back down a bit, right? Everybody thinks they're so smart now, right? And I'm not trying to talk smack to Lady of Crypto, right? It's just, she's not thinking logically, and that's okay, right? Thinking she's stuck in the past. And what do I mean by that, right? What do I mean by that? And sometimes, by the way, guys, sometimes I follow people on X just to know what, like, the herd. I don't follow them to, like, follow their advice. I follow them to, like, understand what the herd mentality is. And some people are good for it. I'm not saying that that's her, but in this instance, that is exactly what I'm thinking. Back here, when the Trump tariffs were announced, right, whenever it was a thing, we had the market going down, right? It was a negatively assumed thing. Why, though? Why? It's because we were uncertain. See, uncertainty does not promote growth in any market. Normally it's almost always it's a bad thing for the markets, right? Markets don't grow in times of uncertainty. We had tariffs announced before these pumps happened over the past few days. Okay, before we broke out to new all-time highs, there were tariffs. There were like a dozen tariffs that were announced, namely on Korea and Japan. Big economies, big contributors to the United States, and I think Japan owns the most, treasuries, debt that the United States has. Like, they literally own the most United States reserves or treasuries or debt, whatever the hell it is. Maybe it's all the same, than any other nation. And we put tariffs on them, and we pumped through it. And the reason for this, and I said this before the pump happened, the reason for this is that the tariffs have been proven to actually be beneficial for the American economy, for the markets. It's been beneficial. They've been racking in the dough, bringing in tens of billions of dollars, even over $100 billion as they've reported. Crazy amounts of money. It's been anything but bad for the economy. In fact, it's been the exact opposite of what the mainstream media made it out to be. Prices have not gone higher. Inflation has not gone higher. The market is doing great. You know what I mean? This was not a drop. I'm sorry, I'm talking so loud. This was not a drop because of tariffs. This was a drop because of uncertainty. Now that the tariffs are happening and we know the effect that it has on the economy, on the markets, and that it's a positive impact, this is the reaction, because it's not uncertainty anymore. We know this now. We know it's a good thing. So the herd thinks they're stuck back here in the beginning of 2025 in Scarif land. We're not in Scarif land anymore. We're in tariff liberation land, where tariff equals good. It's good news. We had tariffs announced here and we pumped. It's good news. If you think that this is going to cause a dump, just understand, you're going to get screwed if you play off of that. If you think it's going to cause a dump and you're at least allocated in the markets, you'll be fine. Who cares? You can be wrong and still make money, and that's the best way to do it. But, and I actually do assume that on Monday we'll see a little bit of a drop. I'm not going to lie. I think that we will start off Monday to the downside. But that's more because I'm like superstitious. I think that it's good. If you want to see a green week, you want to start off Monday, you want to start off down. That doesn't mean that Monday has to close red. I just think Monday we'll see a little bit of a drop. Then we'll go long and just keep that long going the whole damn week, you guys, and rack in the dough. 117.4K right now. 22 hours and 37 minutes left in the day. It's the 13th day of July. Let's get into it. I just wanted to start off by saying, understand that we've proven that tariffs are not bad. If you think that we're about to go through anything like we did here, you guys, you're screwed. You're screwed. Or it's okay if you think that, as long as you're not playing off of that, right? As long as you're holding and buying more and stacking crypto, you're okay. You can be wrong and still be making money, right? If you think it's going to cause a downside, but you're at least allocated in the markets, you'll still make money. But if this is scaring you out of the markets because we're at all-time highs, just understand you're putty in their hands. You're putty in their hands. The big dogs need liquidity. And stuff like that's going to make you sell right into their hands, man. You're putty in their hands. We're not dropping from here. Now, with that being said, perhaps a little bit. We look at the liquidation map here over the last day, BTC, Bitcoin Exchange. There are a lot of shorts piled on, guys. 1.78 billion in the last day. 1.8 billion longs. More longs now than shorts. There are a lot, and we've been ping-ponging between this range here, right? We'll get right up against the shorts where they should be closed out, or liquidated, right up against the longs where they should be liquidated, and we just bounce back and forth between them. It's been kind of a very boring past 24 hours, hasn't it? It's like right whenever it looks like it's going to be bullish, it's bearish. Right whenever it's bearish, it's bullish. Take note, don't trade on the weekends, guys. I mean, there's tradable opportunities here, but I swear today, over the last 24 hours, I thought here we were definitely going to break out and go higher. I thought here, okay, this means we're definitely going to go down. It's like right whenever I think that we're about to shift the direction every single time, it actually shifts in the opposite direction. It's being very tricky over the weekend. I think this is with intention. I think this is because we're very over leveraged at this point. People are trying to make plays to make up for any losses that they've had recently if they weren't a part of this pump. With all that being said, you look at the 30-day Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, which has a cumulative long and short liquidation based on Binance, OKX, and Bybit, right? I wish they would do more. There's got to be a place that does more. I'm sure there's paid services that do that. Maybe I should get that. 2.5 billion in total short liquidations at 131K. Okay, 131K. We're at 117.4K right now. So what is that? That's 24. Or sorry. That's $14,000 essentially. $14,000, and we get that much, right? 2.5 billion in shorts liquidated. $14,000. We take a $14,000 move in the other direction. That's 103K. We've got 17.6 billion. Now, I don't think we're going down to 103K. I don't believe that we're going below 113K. But the point of this is there are a lot more longs on the table than shorts. And typically when you move up, you want to see a lot of shorts. And there are a good bit of shorts here at this 121K area. There are a lot of shorts to be liquidated there, but there's also a lot of longs to be liquidated between about 114K and 116K, and as much as like to 113K, you guys. I mean, there's a lot, right? Just in that area alone. Think of it like this: 130K, 131.5K just to get to $2.5 billion in short liquidations. $2.5 billion on this side. That's a $14,000 move, right? It's a little bit over a $14,000 move. Here, 114.5K. We're at 117.4K right now. That's $3,000. $14,000 move versus a $3,000 move, and there's the same liquidations happening. Does it make sense, right? I'm thinking there are a lot of people who've probably piled on the shorts over the weekend. There's a lot of people who've probably piled on the longs over the weekend, okay? And they're going to pile them on more as Monday opens up, as we get to the end of this day here. And I would assume what we do is we dump on Monday. We'll probably dump on Monday. I don't know if we're going to dump too much today, Sunday, maybe a little bit, but I don't expect too much. Dump on Monday, start off the day on a bad note, and then maybe we'll find support around here. Something between 116 to 113K. I'm not specific yet. We'll get into the specifics, okay? But that's the range so far, about 116 to 113K based off of prior areas of significance in the price and also based off of the significance in the liquidation map there. We will find support in this area and then move up rapidly. It'll be a quick dump. It'll seem so dramatic. There'll be some like negative news coming out with it. It wouldn't surprise me if it was based around the tariffs or something else. There's going to be some negative news that comes out with it, and right then, when it seems like that's the end of the bull market, that we just double topped or faked out, we saw the pump and now it's over. Boom, rip through the roof. We'll be at 120K before you blink. It's going to happen so fast. Let's look at this on the 15-minute time frame, okay? Looking at the 15-minute time frame, I feel like we have a very well-established downtrend in the RSI. Now, it's not perfect, but you can see the lower lows and the lower highs coming like throughout this whole range, right? Even here, like relatively speaking, lower highs. And you're kind of turning your downtrend into a sideways trend. So maybe Sunday is actually a little bit of an up day. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not, but overall, I would say it looks bearish to me, the 15-minute RSI does right now. Just like overall neutral, but bearish. But there's a chance that we could go up a little bit. Maybe Sunday starts off on a good note, and then Monday is that corrective move. I don't know. Looking at it there. Looking at the price, we are bouncing more so off the lower ends. We're shaving the upper ends. That also actually makes me think that we'd move higher. So maybe we do. Maybe we move up to about 118,000 again, maybe just below there, something around these highs, right? I doubt that we get above these highs, but even if we do, I don't think that we're going to run up to 120K right now. I think that we've got a little bit lower to go first. But I don't expect Bitcoin to make it easy, right? We can liquidate some shorts, pile on the longs up here, liquidate the longs, pile on the shorts down here, liquidate the back and forth, and then boom, before we know it, it's Monday and we start to drop down. 15-minute time frame, looking neutral, but I suppose a little bit bullish, right? Overall, like neutral but bearish on the RSI, but looking at the price and looking at the RSI here, actually it does look like you want to break out. Like overall, the reading is a little bit neutral but bearish, but right here, it looks like you're actually about to move up instead of reject down. You're at a point where you would reject down, but the thing is you haven't, right? Here, you rejected down. Here, you rejected down. Here, rejected down. Here, you're doing a little dance. You didn't reject. You should have. And different behavior begets different results. So I think you'll move up just to start off this day Sunday. Do you finish off the day green? I don't know. We'll see. But looking at this on a 1 hour time frame here. 1 hour time frame. A little bit bearish right now. Bullish overall, absolutely bullish. And you double bottomed off your 40, which is nice. You probably move up and you'll find resistance at your 60, which would be a perfect kind of lower high kind of trend right here. I wouldn't be too worried about that, right? A little bit higher, something like that. That would move you up to about 118K. And if you go above these highs, that's cool, but I don't expect much. I mean, maybe at that point you get that double top you're looking for, and then again on Monday we're going to correct down a little bit. That correction is going to be very short-lived. Understand? Okay, Monday could close red. It could go down and still close green. I don't know. I don't care, but I do expect a little bit of a drop on Monday. At least at this point, that's my expectation. 1 hour time frame. At the moment, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we moved up, but overall, I would reside on the bearish end of things. That's my expectation. 4 hour time frame. Looking at it here. All right, now you're probably going to see. I bet today you're going to see a lot of people who are going to be like, Bitcoin broke out of this pennant. It's going through the roof. We're doing it now. It's going to do that, and nothing's going to come of it. Nope. I'm calling it right now. You're going to see it all over X. Bitcoin's breaking out right now, and then boom, down we go. People are going to get ecstatic over the weekend, which they shouldn't. But maybe they should. And if Bitcoin moves up to 121K, cool. But it probably doesn't move much past that. I still believe that no matter what, whether we do what I think we're going to do, which is up here and then probably down on Monday, or we go up further than that, and then on Monday we drop we would still drop on Monday. So one way or another, I'm expecting a Monday drop, but it just depends from where. But I'm thinking probably from here or here at the highest, but we'll see. 4 hour time frame. 4 hour is just getting out of the overbought zone. We look back and we can see here that from this low to this low, you have a nice little trend line coming up, okay? From this low here to that low there, you've got a trend line coming up as well. There's a lot of significance, at least seemingly so, around this 60 area if we were to kind of keep coming down. And finding support off the 60 after getting overbought, you guys, is classic bullish behavior, dominant bullish behavior. So here, moving up like this and then rejecting the overbought zone, you see how you did that? Can we zoom in? Can you see it right there, right? You got out of the overbought zone and then rejected it. That's an indication, at least to me, that we would continue moving down. That's what I would think. And let's say I'm wrong on that. Let's say we don't continue moving down. Let's say that we move up, something like that, right? We get a lower high, but we get a higher high in the price like this, or I guess a higher high on a closing basis. Maybe it's a lower high, maybe it's a slightly higher high, whatever. We top off somewhere in this area. If the 4 hour time frame closes above this place here, the RSI gives us a lower high, but the price gives us a higher high. That's bearish divergence. And again, Monday we would drop, probably. So even if I'm wrong in my assumption that this here is bearish and that would suggest a rejection, you know, if anything, the 4 hour time frame is making me think maybe Sunday is not a green day. Maybe it is, in fact, a red day. And then Monday itself is also a red day. I mean, I wouldn't expect too much out of Sunday, but I think Monday is going to be the day that we move down. But one way or another, I think that we will return to this 60 level in the RSI before seeing any kind of continued growth up there, right? That was a long-lived experience in the overbought zone that we had, guys. Very long-lived. Super bullish. Stuff like that can maintain for a while, but at a certain point it's got to give, right? Like just look at the amount of time we spent up there, right? We don't normally spend that much time, right? Or if we do, we kind of go lower, we correct, whatever. And we're in a different phase right now, I get it. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's done here. I think that we have, you know, from the high to the low, we dropped down to 116.6K. I think we go lower than that, just a little bit lower. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy, man, but a little bit lower nonetheless. It is possible, thinking about it, you know, for Bitcoin to backtest its prior area of resistance. But the thing is, Bitcoin's such a hot commodity, you guys. I mean, look at that. Prior resistance right there, prior resistance right there. It's very possible to come back and backtest that for resistance. But it's not that forgiving. Bitcoin, it's not that forgiving. Typically, it'll tease you, make you think you're going to go back there. Everyone's so smart calling for that area, and then you just find support there. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why would it find support there? I don't know. Let's throw some fibs on there. Let's make some sense out of it. We take a high here to a low there. I guess there's no real sense to be made out of that. And honestly, that kind of backfired. I mean, maybe right there at 116K, which is at the top end of our range, maybe that's not the right fib to draw. Let's see if we can come up with something better. Let's see. What would be a better one? This relative high to low here might give us some fibs. Have we respected it? We went up and tipped the 3618 perfectly. Tipped it. We found resistance in the money zone here. Found a little bit of resistance and turbulence right there. Found some turbulence right there as well. If we look at the 1 hour time frame, it's a little bit more obvious, right? Turbulence at the 1886, turbulence right there in the money zone. Yeah, you tipped the 3618 perfectly. Okay, so let's run with that. 3618 to where? Maybe the 2618. Sometimes that happens. You go from like the 1618 to the 2618. 3618 to the 2618, that kind of happens. So that would give us about a $15,600 move, which again in this liquidation heat map, or just not the heat map but the map itself, that gives us about $2 billion in liquidations. And it wouldn't surprise me if we even went a little bit below there. We could go lower, 114K, 113K, but I doubt that we go any lower than that, right? That would exceed my expectations. But if we were to go back down to this area of prior resistance here, it's very possible that we go down to about 112K. 112, I doubt that we go any lower than 112, 111.8 technically. But again, I'd be very surprised if we even did that, because Bitcoin, the thought here is that while yes, there's a lot of liquidations to be had, there's so much demand for this thing. The lower it goes, like right now, FOMO is kicking in. For all the institutions, all the government bodies around the world, all the big dogs with big dog money, they are foaming at the mouth to get their money injected into the crypto markets right now. And every 1% down is 1% cheaper. It's a discount for them, and they're looking for those discounts. And I think that this is such an obvious area. It's too obvious, right? This area here where, let me get it, hold on, where we had resistance there and resistance there, it's too obvious. I would think that we find support somewhere else. If we take this relative low here to this overall high, relative low to relative high, the 236 is an area that Bitcoin has been finding a lot of significance around. That just happens to be right there, about 113.6K. Sometimes you wick below it. I'm heavily anticipating this is where we go. I'm going to go long super hard on that price there. Afterwards, we should see prices all the way up at 130K, 140K by the end of this month. I got nothing else for you guys. I got to go. I hear someone at the door. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Bye.